Today's horror story is written by Mr. Gray, 42. The neon sign above my shop reads, Emporium of the Ethereal. We, and by we I mean I, make an effort to advertise this establishment as a place where nobody and nothing will be turned away. Just last week, for example, a gentleman brought in the pistol used by John Wilkes Booth to kill President Lincoln. According to him, the embittered soul of Honest Abe himself was attached to it. After performing a certain ritual to test the authenticity of such a claim, I saw the telltale apparition of the tall, bearded commander-in-chief himself, which nearly caused the man to jump out of his skin, partially due to said specter being considerably irate. It wasn't his spirit, not really, more of an echo, a leftover of Lincoln's spirit. Anyway, after proving its realism, I dismissed the spirit and returned it into the weapon. I determined the worth of the object to be $15,500, or any equivalent thereof. He grew irate, saying it was worth at least $30,000, that he could go to the pawn shop in Pulp Fiction and get a better price, that he could get more from the gun at Ed and Lorraine Warren's museum. I acted a bit unprofessional after the last bit, I won't lie. I had to give him a bit of encouragement. Said encouragement came in the form of ringing a bell with a dog symbol on it 3 times, and then watching him grow pale as a sheet as the 3-headed dog bounded out from the back of the shop and growled at him. Handing the gun over and accepting the money, he fled as quick as he could. I dismissed the dog, then took the gun and put it in the warehouse. Then you have my more unique clientele. 2 days ago, a huge amorphous blob of eyes and tentacles slithered through my door and dropped a strange device on my counter. Non-Euclidean would be doing it an injustice. Every view I took, it was a different shape. Look at it from the side, it would be spherical, above triangular, below a cube, and numerous variations thereof. According to the customer, whose name I won't even try to say, it was an ancestral artifact used to determine the direction one was supposed to go. Said ancestor used it to find a new world for their people. In short, the otherworldly being brought me an old compass. After examining it using certain methods that the previous shop owner told me never disclose, I determined it to be worth 700 cumulata, which for them would be what 150,000 is for humans. At this, they excitedly chirped and screeched in gratitude and eagerly shook my hand with their long, slimy appendage, then apologizing profusely for said slime. Telling them it was no problem, I washed my hands and gave them the money. Then, trying to avoid looking at the device too hard, I put it in another part of the warehouse reserved for eldritch items. Now, by this point, you may be wondering, where the hell is this place? Or maybe not, I'm not a mind reader, and that's my watch's job. Anyway, it isn't really located in one specific place, it's in a kind of space and time between spaces and times, if you understand me. I've had at least 20 people bring in just Booth's gun, all authentic, with varying reactions. You can't find it unless you know damn well what you're looking for, and if you call ahead using a specific number, which I can't give out. This shop is on Earth in the 21st century, but at the same time it isn't. It's complicated, but necessary information just so you know how I'm posting here. This brings me to the reason why I'm posting here. See, I've been getting threatening phone calls lately. I wouldn't be too unnerved, except the stalker gets a bit too close for comfort. They describe what I'm doing, what I'm eating, and what part of the shop I'm in. Standard stalker shtick. Why is this a problem? You run a shop in a place that's not supposed to have anyone but you living in it, and you're getting phone calls from someone or something that knows details about your place of business and your location in vivid detail. Then there's what happened last night. I heard a clattering noise from the warehouse, which is accessed through a door marked as such. Quick detail about the warehouse and the shop. The shop is relatively tiny, but the warehouse acts as a kind of pocket dimension, allowing for infinite storage. The reason this is important is because last night, I saw someone or something casually perusing the WMD/hazmat section of the warehouse, looking at a fragment of the elephant's foot as if it were jewelry. "Sorry, bud, but those ain't for sale," I said, the gravity of the situation not sinking in yet. I turned on my flashlight and froze. It looked human, but when I shone a light at it, the thing, whatever the hell it was, seemed to be covered in a glossy black substance. It had no mouth, nose, or pupils. Well, at least it didn't have a mouth until its face opened like a flower, revealing a pinkish, grinning face with long, anglerfish-like teeth and the same eyes. It stood there, body compressing and expanding as it breathed. Then I took a step back. As if to mock me, it took a step forward and stayed there, that grin still plastered on. My eyes darted from it to the door, then back to it. As wide as the grin was, it seemed to get a bit wider. It knew I was trying to gauge the distance between it and the door. It was daring me to make a run for it. A dare I decided to take. Sprinting for the open door, I heard it screech at me and bounded on all fours. Its fingers were just about to grab me before I re-entered the brightly lit shop, then slammed the door. I heard the impact of its body on the door. I stood for a moment, breathing heavily. Then, after about an hour, I reached behind the counter and locked the cabinet that held a pistol, only meant to be used for emergencies. Checking and loading it, I slowly undid the barricade and peeked inside. Nothing. No trace of the thing. No residue from whatever substance covered it. Everything was completely normal. I had almost sighed in relief when a panicked jolt shot through me. There was a light knock on the glass door. It was the creature, still grinning at me. It gestured towards the desk, where the phone was. It rang, and I cautiously answered. Emporium of the Ethereal.
I was just doing a bit of browsing, that's all.
The stalker's voice rasped mockingly, then chuckled sadistically. I locked the door, seeing it was still there, pressed against the glass. No phone in its hands and its mouth unmoving, except to tauntingly open and shut its jaws.
You're quicker than the others, I'll give you that.
Its outer face folded back over the true face, concealing its mouth. Then, with no warning, it scampered off, and the line went dead. Needless to say, I didn't get any sleep that night. I stayed up, pistol in my hand, looking back and forth from the warehouse to the front door. It didn't come back. I don't know what that thing, whatever it was, intended. Whether it really wanted to get its hands on some WMDs or if it was just screwing with me. How it got in, let alone out. I'll need to go phone my benefactor, ask them about it. In the meantime, I've got a customer to attend to. Thank you for listening. You can handle another horror story, right?